a man arrives at a tribe and receives a girl as a welcome gift. The tribe has a custom of offering a tribal girl to their guests for a few nights as a sign of hospitality. During their time together, the man and the girl fall in love and wish to marry, but the tribe commits an offense against them. The movie begins in the 1930s, when the British government introduces a regulation that requires anyone seeking a government job to learn a different language. People were sent to small villages to reside and learn the language to control the tribal population later. Because of this job requirement, a man named John is sent to a remote village in Malaysia called Sarawak. Despite the village's underdeveloped state, John's life is about to change forever. He travels there by boat and waits for someone to pick him up. Soon, he sees a tribesman named Nubanga, who speaks the local language and some English. Nubanga takes him to the village, where John meets the governor, Henry. Henry lives there and works for the British government as a caretaker for incoming visitors. Henry asks John why he chose this place when he could have gone somewhere else. John tells him that his father once worked here, and he wanted to continue his father's work. Henry then drives John around the village in a jeep. John explains that his father wanted the tribal people to get a good education, but he was killed during the war. Now, John has come to fulfill his father's dream, no matter what. Henry didn't know much about John, but he gathered from their conversation that John was educated. As they drive through the forest, they eventually reach a house deep in the jungle. Henry informs John that they will meet the villagers the next day so he can share his plans with them. He will also need to live among them to learn their language so he can help them in any way possible. The next day, Nubanga takes John by boat to meet the villagers. After some time, Nubanga stops the boat at the village's edge and leads him to meet the tribal chief. They give a warm welcome to John, and all the tribe people come to meet him. The chief's name is Malaka, and he is the father of a girl named Belly. Then, to welcome their guest, a beautiful woman named Selma steps forward and offers John some liquor, but he declines, saying he doesn't drink. Nubanga tells him that refusing will upset the people, so John finally drinks it. When John looks at Selma, he's taken by her beauty and immediately develops feelings for her. The cultural program commences with some girls dancing, including Selma. John only looks at her, captivated by her presence. After the dance, the locals invite John to dance, but he feels too shy. Instead, he recites an English poem, but the people don't understand or enjoy it. Wanting to make them laugh, John decides to dance with Nabanga, doing a British-style romantic dance. Everyone bursts out laughing. When the dance concludes, John sits among the people. Later that night, as everyone prepares to sleep, John feels sick and dizzy from drinking. He notices a group of people carrying a severed head, which he finds very strange. Henry visits John the next day, and John asks, "What am I supposed to do here? I have no idea what's going on." Henry responds, "Your job will be explained to you when the time comes, but there's a nearby mining operation where some Chinese laborers are being mistreated. The local tribes are bothering them, and you'll need to stay away from them." Selma then arrives. After she leaves, Henry explains to John that this girl will stay with him like a wife and teach him her language. He can do whatever he wants with her. John is taken aback by this statement. Selma came with a man who began explaining their traditions to John, but John didn't understand their language. Henry clarifies, whenever a European guest arrives, the locals offer him a beautiful woman to be his wife during his stay. John is shocked and can't comprehend such a rule. Initially, he thinks Selma's people are forcing her to stay with him, so he speaks to her about it, but Selma says she's okay with it. She wants to be his wife for as long as he stays there. Henry mentions that this custom is called the sleeping dictionary. Selma then says that her mother was the same way. Her father was an Englishman, which is why she looks the way she does. She wants to stay with John because she wants to improve her English. John agrees to let Selma stay with him, but makes it clear that he will teach her his language and never be romantic with her. Henry disapproves, and even Selma doesn't like it. However, she ultimately accepts John's condition. John and Selma are given an old house to live in, and another man is assigned as John's servant to cook for them. That night, while John eats dinner, Selma watches him. It seems like she wants him to come to her, but John tells her to go do her work. He can't go to her because that's not how things are done in his country. He tells her to sleep in the other room while he sleeps alone. Selma waits for him for a while. Somehow, their first night together passes uneventfully. The next day, Nobanga comes over and teases John. He hands John a severed monkey's head, saying there was a fight with the Chinese workers the previous night and that he brought this as a gift for him. Everyone laughs because they know Nanga is joking, but John is startled and disturbed by it. Selma takes the sack and throws it away. John feels embarrassed and returns home. There, he sees that his cook has brought a young man with him. The cook tells John that he brought a handsome young man for him, thinking John might like him. John gets mad and says, "Your heads are filled with dung." He then tells Selma to leave his house. Selma also gets angry and prepares to leave, but she stops outside. The next day, John finds Selma sitting outside. He feels bad and asks her why she hasn't gone home. The cook explains to him that she can't. If she leaves, the whole village would be angry with her. John admits his mistake and tells her, "I find you very beautiful and I like you, but sleeping together before marriage is a sin." Salma agrees, even though she has already fallen in love with him. That night, Salma tries to get close to John again. As they talk, John leans in toward her, but instead, he simply wishes her good night and goes to sleep. They lie on opposite sides of the same bed. Selma tells him that it's tradition in their tribe to treat guests like husbands and that he should gain some experience with her before marriage. John laughs and says, "No problem, I'll take that class later." Then he asks her why she chose him. Selma softly replies, "Because you're shy." They talk for a long time, but nothing happens between them. The next day, John meets Henry's wife, Aggie. Aggie tells him that everyone is talking about him, suggesting something must be wrong with him, and that poor Selma is being judged because he isn't showing her affection. But John doesn't respond and goes home. Over time, John grows closer to Selma. That night, Selma starts teaching John the names of body parts in her language, playfully touching him as she does so. Slowly, a strange and warm feeling grows between them. The love that John has suppressed for so long finally breaks free, and they begin kissing. John originally came here for a different reason, but Selma is teaching him how to love. The next day, as the two of them are sitting with some children, Nubanga shows up and jokes that Europeans are useless and that they are stronger than them. John replies, "Do you want to challenge me? You've always lived in the jungle, but I can stay underwater longer than you." Nubanga accepts the challenge, and they jump into the water. After 1 minute, Nubanga comes up for air, but John stays under. Finally, John comes up and reveals that he was wearing an oxygen mask, explaining why he could stay underwater for so long. John wants to show them how advanced Western civilization is. The villagers are amazed and everyone cheers. Selma is delighted and proud of him. Now, John and Selma sleep together every day. One night when John wakes, he sees Selma getting up to leave. John asks her why she's leaving at this hour and what the reason is. Selma explains that in their tribe, if a girl is found sleeping next to a man in the morning, they are forced to marry. That's why she always leaves during the night, because John doesn't want to marry her. After saying this, Selma leaves. The next night, Henry invites John over for dinner at his house, where John meets Henry's daughter, Seela, who has just returned from studying in England. Seela doesn't agree with the sleeping dictionary tradition and calls it an animalic habit. Henry replies that the custom is still followed there, but that people should see it as a task. John is also against the sleeping dictionary custom, but Henry doesn't like his opinion. Henry tells John to mind his own work. The next day, Selma comes to John wearing a beautiful dress, and they start kissing. John has truly fallen in love with Selma, but their love is about to face trouble. The following day, Seela comes to John to learn the tribal language and spends time with everyone. However, she prefers to stay near John. They have long talks and watch many village events together. Selma becomes very angry when she sees this. She doesn't want anyone near John. Seela then asks John to take a photo with her. Selma gets even angrier and tells John in her language to stop all of this, but John doesn't refuse the beautiful woman. At that moment, they notice something in the water. Henry gets angry and says that the Chinese near the mining site are responsible. John says he will go and see what's going on there. He and Selma make a plan to go. Then Henry's wife, Aggie, tells John that Seela has started to like him. She says Seela is well educated and that if he marries her, they will build a school for him so he can educate the local children. John stays quiet and doesn't answer. Since Seela is Henry's daughter, Aggie tells him to think about it and answer before it's too late. John returns home to a furious Selma. He tries to calm her down, apologizing for not refusing Seela. Selma replies that all men are the same and that she has done everything for him, asking if she isn't enough to make him happy. Hearing this, John gets angry and leaves. The next day, they visit the earlier incident site to investigate what's happening there. As they enter the village, they notice an epidemic has started with people dying one after another. It feels very strange to them. While they are researching, a man attacks John, but John manages to escape. Together with Nubanga, he chases the man and they reach a place where they see outsiders mining and retrieving silver from the area. When John returns, he finds Selma sick. He remembers that Selma's last meal was rice. Soon, other tribal people arrive and are about to attack them, but Selma tells them in her language that they have come to help. John says that the rice they are eating has slow poison, and the villagers explain that the outsiders gave them the rice, which means the outsiders are trying to kill the villagers with poisoned rice so they can take over their settlement. John asks the villagers to attack the outsiders. The tribe people then attack the Europeans, kill them all, and return to thank John. They give John and Selma a bracelet. For the first time, John tells Selma, "I love you," and expresses his wish to spend the rest of his life with her. Selma, filled with happiness, shares the same desire. The next morning, John tells Henry that he wants to live with Selma and marry her. Henry gets mad, saying that it goes against their culture and it has never been done before. He warns that if people find out about their marriage, they will kill John. Henry then reveals that he once had a love story similar to John's, but they couldn't stay together. John tells him that it was his fault for leaving the woman he loved. At that moment, Aggie arrives and hears the conversation. She tells John that Selma is just a sleeping dictionary for him and that he should forget her and move on. Henry tells John to return to England, marry his daughter, and then come back the next year to live there. Meanwhile, Selma is talking to her people, asking if she can marry John. The chief tells her, "How can you think such a thing? You will marry my son, Nubanga." Soon after, Selma is put in a cell. John rushes to her and tries to free her. Selma, with a broken heart, tells him that she warned him that no one would accept their relationship. She asks him to leave, saying she will live her life here, but John still tries to save her. Just then, the tribesmen arrive with Henry among them. Henry says, "I'm your boss and you have to obey me." John leaves with no other option, forced to leave. A year passes. John marries Seela and they begin living together. Seela asks about Selma and John says that she has married Nanga. A few months later, the couple returns to the same village for John's work. This is where Selma lives and where John intends to educate the children. A school has now been built and John is happy to see it. That night, while everyone is watching a movie, John searches for Selma, his eyes always looking for her. At night, Sa and John are sleeping together, but Seela gets lost in her thoughts. She tells John that she will never be able to take Selma's place. John tells her that he is trying to love her the same way he loved Selma. Then, Seela starts to say something. Later, John takes the cook to an officer named Neville. Since the cook will now prepare food for Neville, John notices that Neville's sleeping dictionary, a woman named Depot, is in pain. This upsets John, and he tells Neville, "I'm your senior, so treat your sleeping dictionary kindly." Neville jokes that if John hadn't married Seela, she would have been his wife by now. Meanwhile, Aggie is advising her daughter that if John doesn't love her, she should stop hopping for it. John overhears this and kisses Seela in front of Aggie. The next day, while working, John sees Selma. She is holding a baby and Nubanga is with her, but the child has blue eyes and fair skin. John immediately knows it is his child. John goes to the cook, who confirms it. The boy is his son, named Mandar. John then makes a plan to meet Selma. He tells the cook to tell Depot that he needs her help to see Selma. According to the plan, Selma comes to meet John at night, but when she sees him, she runs away, afraid someone might see them and cause trouble. John stops her and sees his child up close for the first time, holding him in his arms. The next day, John makes a toy for his son. Aggie sees this and gets excited, thinking Sela is going to be a mother, but John tells her that Sela isn't pregnant. The following day, John takes the toy to his child, but Nubunga sees him. That night, Nubunga attacks and hurts John. When Henry learns about this, he asks his men to kill Nubunga. Henry also tells John not to go near Selma, saying that she is his daughter and that he once loved her mother but moved on. The next day, Nubunga is to be punished. John tries to have him pardoned, but Nubunga admits to what he did. John says to postpone the choice to the day after. That night, Selma goes to John, asking him to save Nubunga. Meanwhile, Sela sees John and Selma together. The next day, John explains his decision, sentencing Nubunga to death. That night, Selma goes to steal the cell keys, but they are not there. When she gets to the cell, she sees that John has freed Nubanga and given him a gun to escape. John again tells his love to Selma, saying they should take their child and go far away. When John returns home, Sela tells him she is pregnant, troubling him again. Elsewhere, Henry learns that Nubanga has escaped. Neville tells the villagers that he wants Selma as his sleeping dictionary, and the villagers agree. That night, Neville tries to woo Selma, but she and the cook knock him out. Meanwhile, John is writing a letter to Sela. Sela sees the note but says nothing. Selma, on the other hand, waits for John for a long time, but he comes late. She walks to the river. Henry follows her, wanting to stop her, but he feels sorry because Selma is his daughter. He gives her a gun. Selma finds out that Henry is her father and they hug each other and cry together. Neville then goes out looking for John and Selma. John finds Selma, but Neville comes, saying he has been waiting for them. He gives them handcuffs and tries to do things with Selma. John attacks Neville, but Neville overpowers him and is about to kill him when a gunshot goes off. Selma shot the gun. The tribe people then arrive and kill Neville. After this, John stays with the villagers. He and Selma dance together, which ends the story.